The air throbbed with the pulse of the city. Inside, Sarah, barely out of college, danced with her friends. As the night wore on, the music changed to something slower, more soulful. It was time to head home. Opening her ride-sharing app, Sarah input her destination. A notification popped up. Driver arriving in 4 minutes. She pulled her jacket tighter, wishing she had grabbed a heavier one. A black sedan slowed at the curb across the street. "1 minute. A car pulled up alongside the curb in front of her. "Are you Sarah?" the driver asked. Sarah nodded and slid into the back seat. The car turned a corner, heading in the opposite direction of her apartment. The city lights now seemed to mock Sarah. I said, "You're going the wrong way," Sarah repeated. The driver remained silent, his gaze unwavering. She fumbled for her phone, but it slipped from her grasp. Adrenaline surged through Sarah's veins. "Stop the car," she demanded. The driver remained unflinching. "Where are you taking me?" Sarah cried out. Fear washed over Sarah. She typed out a message to her roommate. "Help, wrong Uber." She sent another message to her best friend. "Call 911. The car continued its relentless journey into the night. The car stopped at a deserted industrial park. The driver turned, his eyes cold and calculating. He withdrew a blade, sharp and unforgiving. The phone slipped from her grasp, the screen going dark. The first hint of dawn painted the sky. Inside Sarah's apartment, her roommate, Emily, stirred from a restless sleep. She scrolled through their message thread, her heart sinking. She tried calling Sarah, but the call went straight to voicemail. Emily's worry morphed into gnawing anxiety. She tried calling Sarah's friends, but no one had heard from her. Emily remembered Sarah mentioning a ride-sharing service. Hope flickered in the darkness of her fear. Emily contacted the ride-sharing company. The representative placed Emily on hold. "We have no record of a ride being requested or taken under Miss Sarah's name." Panic surged through Emily. She had to call the police. The harsh fluorescent lights of the police station amplified the sterile atmosphere. Emily sat hunched, her fingers twisting in her lap. Across from her, a detective listened patiently. Her voice cracked with strain. She described Sarah's night out, and the chilling silence that followed. She spoke of her growing unease and frantic phone calls. The detective jotted down notes. He asked questions, his tone measured and calm. He didn't offer false hope. His silence spoke volumes. This wasn't just a case of a young woman who partied too hard. This was something else entirely. This was the kind of case that haunted a city. This was the kind of case that began with a missing persons report and ended with a prayer. The investigation began, as most do, with a flurry of activity that belied the agonizingly slow pace of progress. Officers were dispatched to the bar where Sarah had last been seen, interviewing staff and patrons, searching for any witness who might have noticed something, anything out of the ordinary. Surveillance footage from the area was meticulously reviewed, grainy images flickering across screens, offering glimpses of Sarah walking alone on the sidewalk, her phone illuminated in her hand, her face a mask of unknowing dread. But the footage, like a cruel joke, only captured her final moments before she disappeared into the anonymity of a passing car, its license plate obscured by shadows. Days bled into nights, each hour marked by another dead end, another shattered hope. The ride-sharing company, despite their initial assurances, could provide no further information. Sarah's phone, once a lifeline to her friends and family, remained stubbornly silent, its battery long drained, its location a mystery. The investigation seemed to be hitting a wall, the trail growing colder with each passing moment. The weight of Sarah's disappearance pressed down on the city, a suffocating blanket of fear and uncertainty. Her face, once radiant with life and laughter, now stared out from missing person posters plastered on telephone poles and shop windows, a haunting reminder of the fragility of existence. Just when all hope seemed lost, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A woman, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and civic duty, contacted the police. She had been driving home from a late shift at the hospital when she noticed something unusual. A car parked on a deserted road on the outskirts of the city, its headlights illuminating a patch of dense woodland. She couldn't provide a detailed description of the car or its occupant, but something about the scene, the late hour, the isolation of the location had struck her as deeply unsettling. She had continued on her way, her heart pounding with a primal fear, but the image lingered in her mind, a nagging whisper that wouldn't be silenced. The police, desperate for any lead, no matter how insignificant it might seem, descended upon the location. The area, a forgotten swath of land swallowed by the city's relentless expansion, was a tapestry of overgrown vegetation and decaying industrial structures, a breeding ground for shadows and secrets. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, a pungent reminder of nature's relentless cycle of life and death. A sense of foreboding settled over the search party, a chilling premonition that they were about to unearth something sinister, something that would forever shatter the illusion of safety. Forensic teams, their movements precise and methodical, combed the area, their flashlights cutting through the darkness, searching for any sign, any trace of Sarah's presence. The silence of the night was broken only by the rustle of leaves underfoot and the distant hum of traffic from the nearby highway, a constant reminder of the world that continued to spin, even as Sarah's had come to a terrifying halt. Hours stretched into an agonizing eternity, each minute a testament to the tenacity of hope in the face of despair. And then, just as the first rays of dawn began to pierce the darkness, a discovery, a single solitary item, lying discarded amidst the undergrowth, its vibrant color a jarring contrast to the muted tones of the forest floor. A scarf, Sarah's scarf, the one she had been wearing the night she disappeared. The discovery, though heartbreaking, sent a surge of adrenaline through the search party, a grim confirmation that they were on the right track, that Sarah had been here, that she was close. The net was tightening, the invisible threads of fate drawing closer, leading them deeper into the heart of the mystery, closer to the truth, and closer to the monster who had stolen Sarah away. The discovery of Sarah's scarf, a splash of vibrant silk against the decaying foliage, sent a ripple of shock and grief through the search party. It was a tangible link to the young woman whose laughter had been so brutally silenced, a grim reminder of the life that had been stolen. The air, already heavy with the weight of anticipation, grew thick with a palpable sense of dread, the unspoken knowledge that they were about to come face to face with the unthinkable. The search, once methodical and measured, took on a renewed urgency. Every fallen branch, every rustle in the undergrowth, sent a jolt of adrenaline through the investigators, their senses heightened, their movements driven by a grim determination to bring Sarah home, even if it was only to offer her the solace of a proper goodbye. The sun climbed higher in the sky, casting long, eerie shadows through the dense canopy of trees, turning the familiar woodland into a sinister labyrinth. The silence, broken only by the distant chirping of birds, seemed to amplify the growing tension, the sense that they were being watched, that the forest itself was holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable. And then, they saw it. A shape, barely discernible amidst the tangled undergrowth, its stillness a jarring contrast to the gentle sway of the surrounding foliage. A shape that sent a chill down the spines of even the most seasoned investigators, a shape that could only be one thing, a human body. The discovery of the body, though expected, sent a wave of grief and nausea through the search party. The world seemed to tilt on its axis, the vibrant tapestry of life momentarily fading to a muted gray. The silence, once heavy with anticipation, now echoed with the weight of Sarah's absence, a stark reminder of the fragility of life, the brutal finality of death. Forensic experts, their faces masked against the stench of decay, moved with practiced efficiency, their every touch a testament to the sanctity of the task at hand. Every photograph, every carefully collected piece of evidence, brought them one step closer to understanding the events that led to this tragedy, to piecing together the fragments of a life shattered. Time, once a relentless force, seemed to stand still as the investigators worked. The rustle of leaves, the chirping of birds, even the distant hum of traffic, faded into the background, replaced by a profound sense of loss, a shared grief that transcended words. And then, amidst the somber silence, a whisper of confirmation. The body, its features obscured by time and trauma, was indeed that of Sarah. The news, though expected, hit Emily, who had been waiting anxiously at the police station like a physical blow. The fragile hope she had clung to, the hope that Sarah was still alive, that this was all just a terrible misunderstanding, evaporated, leaving behind a raw, gaping wound of grief. The discovery of Sarah's body, though heartbreaking, ignited a firestorm of determination within the police department. This was no longer just a missing persons case, it was a homicide investigation, a race against time to bring a killer to justice. The pressure mounted, fueled by the public outcry, the media frenzy, and the unspoken promise made to Sarah, the promise that her death would not be in vain. The investigation, once hampered by dead ends and false leads, now had a renewed focus. The forensic evidence, meticulously collected from the crime scene, began to paint a chilling portrait of the perpetrator. DNA evidence, retrieved from under Sarah's fingernails, pointed to a male suspect, his profile a chilling match to one already lurking in the depths of the criminal justice system. His name was David, and his rap sheet read like a catalog of depravity: assault, battery, stalking. His history of violence against women, a chilling testament to his deeply ingrained misogyny, sent a shiver down the spines of even the most hardened detectives. This was a predator, a monster who had been allowed to roam free, his darkness hidden beneath a veneer of normalcy. David's face, captured on grainy surveillance footage from a gas station near where Sarah's phone had last pinged, stared out from wanted posters plastered across the city. His eyes, cold and calculating, seemed to mock the efforts of the police, his very existence a testament to the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of their civilized world. The manhunt for David was swift and relentless. The police cornered him in a seedy motel room on the outskirts of the city. He offered no resistance, his demeanor chillingly calm. The trial was a media spectacle, the courtroom packed with reporters and Sarah's grieving family. The evidence against David was overwhelming. A previous victim's chilling testimony sealed his fate. David remained impassive, his gaze fixed. He viewed the proceedings as a minor inconvenience. The jury was unmoved by his indifference. The guilty verdict echoed through the courtroom. David was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Justice, though a flickering flame, had been served. For Sarah's loved ones, the pain of her loss remains, a reminder of the monster who extinguished her light. The city, once pulsating with its own rhythm, seemed to hold its breath. The verdict, a resounding declaration of justice served, did little to fill the void left by Sarah's absence. Her face, once beaming from missing person posters, now graced the front pages of newspapers, a tragic symbol of a life cut short, a stark reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the city's vibrant facade. The initial shock, the disbelief that such a horrific crime could happen in their midst, gave way to a collective grief, a shared sense of vulnerability. The city that never sleeps, the city that prided itself on its resilience, its ability to weather any storm, seemed to shudder under the weight of Sarah's loss. Parents held their children a little tighter, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that monsters walked among them, their true faces hidden beneath a veneer of normalcy. Young women, once carefree and confident, now moved through the city with a newfound sense of caution. Their eyes scanning the shadows, their phones clutched in their hands like talismans against the darkness. Sarah's death, a tragedy that shattered the illusion of safety, became a turning point, a catalyst for change. The city, determined to honor her memory, to ensure that her death was not in vain, implemented stricter safety measures for ride-sharing services, a small but significant step towards reclaiming the night. Sarah's death reminded us that even in a digital age, shadows still harbor danger. The convenience of ride-hailing apps came with hidden risks. Predators exploited this anonymity. The community vowed to be vigilant, sharing ride details and tracking locations. They organized self-defense classes and pledged to protect each other. Sarah's legacy lived on, a beacon of hope in the darkness.